At midfielder number 16, Yaneli Sampson. At midfielder number 18, Jocelyn Samira Gallardo. At defense number 26, Alyssa Morel. At defense number 27, Cameron Acevedo. And in goal, number 1. And in goal, number 1, Carolina Simpkins. The Monarchs are coached by Brian Made and assisted by Jay Vega. And now, starting for your night. At defense, number 4, Haley Chad. At defender, number 5, Paige Rodrigo. At midfielder, number 6, Claire Stevens. At forward, number 8, Macy Rackham. At defender, number 9, Ella Thomas. At midfielder, number 10, Morgan Romney. At midfielder, number 17, Mabel Harris. At midfielder, number 19, McKenna Winterton. At defense, number 21, Tessa Miller. At defender, number 28, Annalise Huber. And in goal for the Knights, number 00, Katrina Gardner. The Knights are coached by Rob Dahl and assisted by Eric Dahl and Shelley Pulliam. And now, if you will all please rise and face the flag for the playing of our national anthem. Thank you, and go Knights!
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. We welcome you to the field at Knight Stadium in Buena Vista, Virginia for another NCAA Division III women's soccer matchup. This game featuring your Southern Virginia University Knights versus the Methodist University Monarchs. My name is Quinn Meyer, and joining me today is Nicholas O'Connor. And Nick, we've talked a little bit about how the Knights have had a very, very difficult schedule so far. Obviously this will be the third consecutive game that they faced in NCAA tournament qualifier from the previous year. Obviously today, a rematch from the USA South Championship game last year where Methodist won 3-1. What can you expect from the Knights coming into this one?
Well, Quinn, the Knights certainly are not satisfied with their current record. Coach Dahl has set up some tough competition for them thus far. I'm sure they would like to right the ship a little bit here and stick it to Methodist University a bit.
Yeah, and as you mentioned, Nick, Coach Dahl mentioned before the game that this difficult schedule was by design. And while, some of the women on the team, he said, felt a little bit discouraged He's been preaching the importance of knowing that this is for the end of the year as well, that they know what to expect come championship time, and hopefully be able to qualify for the NCAA tournament as well.
Absolutely. With each difficult game, these ladies become just that much more better because of it, that much more improved, rather, because of it. So these ladies, seeing that tough competition, are coming in prepared to take on games like this against Methodist University.
So the Knights coming into today with a 1-4-1 record. This will be their first USA South Conference matchup. Methodist coming in today with a 4-3 record, coming off a 1-0 loss to number 2 ranked in the country, Christopher Newport. And so just as Nick mentioned, the Knights are going to try and right the ship here and get their conference schedule off with a high note. McKenna Winterton's going to clear that one into the Monarch zone. She's going to get it back off of a header, looking for her teammate, but the Monarchs will steal that back and reset. Set up Azevedo. She's with it, crowded by a couple of Knights. Sending it back towards the Knights' goal on the near side. Haley Gadd is going to get that to her teammates, and they'll play catch here on the near side. Nice passing here. This is number 9, Ella Thomas. She was able to get it to Macy Rackham, but she stood up there by a couple of Monarchs, and they'll get the throw in.
Now, as we move forward, Quinn, a player to watch here is that number 16, Yaneli Sanchez. Now, she already, in the 7 games in which the Monarchs have played in, has taken 50 shots on goal and made 7 of those.
Certainly a centerpiece in the Monarchs' attack is Sanchez. Coach Dahl also mentioned Corinne Shovlin as another player to watch. And they're going to try and tighten things up down the middle to not give those attackers too much room.
Yes, Shovlin is tied as the assist leader at 4 assists so far this season and has a number of goals herself.
Monarchs back in control. They'll send it back to their defense. Good pressure there by Macy Rackham. But Elia Carter's going to get it back down towards the Knights' goal into the far side. Claire Stevens will break that one up. Goes out of bounds for a Monarchs throw-in.
So as we've mentioned with the Monarchs down here on the Knights' end of the field, those shots come early, they come often. So we'll be taking a look to see them be taking advantage of any opportunity.
Annalise Huber's going to reject that one just outside the box, and now Mabel Harris with it, trying to give Macy Rackham a lead. That's going to go just a bit too far for her. And the keeper for the Monarchs, Carolina Simpkins, the sophomore from Sanford, North Carolina, is there to retrieve it, and she will slow things down.
And a moment of appreciation for number 1, Carolina Simpkins. Currently sitting at a 90% save percentage for the season.
She's certainly been on the top of her game, which is why the Monarchs have been able to build up a respectable schedule also against stiff competition. As we mentioned, they coming off of a 1-0 loss to number 2 ranked CNU. This is Macy Rackham in pursuit. But that's number 13, Carter, the freshman from Graham, North Carolina, is going to kick it out of bounds for a Knight throw-in.
Give the Monarchs a good opportunity to reset their defense.
This is Claire Stevens now on the throw-in. She's going to set up Macy and then give it back to Stevens. That's going to be lofted in towards the middle. They're looking for Mabel Harris on the near side. She's in pursuit of it, and the Monarchs kick it out of bounds, and Mabel Harris wants to go quickly. Looking for Macy Rackham again in the middle, but good defense by Methodist to break it up, and it's back to Annalise Huber near the middle of the field. Just barely can't keep it in bounds. And possession will go back to Methodist.
Quinn, I think these Knights understand that this Methodist University team is one that will be taking many a shot throughout the game. And so the Knights need to match that energy, become a little bit more aggressive so that they can get the points on the board as well. What do you feel like the game plan is that the Knights need to take in order to match this Monarch squad?
Well, just like Coach Dahl mentioned, they want to keep things tight down the middle and prevent as many shots as they can. Obviously, we noted before the game that Yaneli Sanchez, the leading scorer for the Monarchs, has 50 shots attempted on the season, 35 of those on goal. She'll be one to watch as the Monarchs throw it in. Have it on the near side. They're going to set up Cameron Azevedo. She'll send it towards the end of the box and right off the stomach of Katrina Gardner, but she corrals that one nicely, and the Knights back in possession. Ella Thomas is going to lose that one. That Monarch drive is going to deflect off of Claire Stevens, and the Monarchs will try to reset. Morgan Romney taking a close look there at the ball. Good pressure by the Knights. They're going to force the Monarchs back a little bit further. Mabel Harris in pursuit. That was also good pressure from number 21, Tessa Miller. And McKenna Winterton's going to find her on the far side. She'll cut towards the middle. And a good couple of tackles by Methodist. That'll go out of bounds off them. A throw-in for Southern Virginia. This is Claire Stevens to take it. Looking for Tessa Miller. That'll bounce off her head and out of bounds. Possession back towards the Monarchs. So just above 6 minutes gone in the first half of play. Today a rematch from last year's USA South Championship match where the Monarchs came out on top 3-1, which clinched them a berth in the NCAA tournament. McKenna Winterton with a run. It's going to sail over top of the net, though, out of bounds, and a goal kick for Methodist. So the first opportunity for McKenna Winterton, one of the leading goal scorers on this night's squad, tied with Mabel Harris with 2 goals on the year so far.
Yes, they love to give McKenna opportunities to take those shots on goal. She's got a great foot on her, and they have a lot of confidence in her scoring ability.
Looked like a Monarch got kind of clotheslined by her own teammate. That goes out of bounds. Good work by Claire Stevens. The Knights are going to clear it towards the middle. And a bit of a dangerous play by the defender for Methodist. Leaving it for her keeper. Maybe didn't expect it too much. And Mabel Harris was in the vicinity, but it didn't get to her. And Simpkins is going to clear this back towards the middle of the field. Haley Gadd's after, and a bit of a miscommunication by the Knights. This is number 16, Yaneli Sanchez. Is going to send it towards the goal just outside the post. First big opportunity for the leading scorer for Methodist, Yaneli Sanchez. 7 goals on the year, and almost made it number 8 right there.
Absolutely, and she loves to take those opportunities, especially with the goal available to her like that. And I can imagine that will certainly not be the only shot attempt we see from her this afternoon.
And maybe that wakes up the Knights defenders a bit. Haley Gadd not taking the best angle and allowed Sanchez to go right past her. This is Mabel Harris trying to buy time. She'll send it for Haley Gadd. That deflects off a Monarch right to McKenna Winterton, though. And Morgan Romney's going to find Macy Rackham. Stood up at the line by number 13, Allie Carter of the Monarchs. They're back in control.
And as the game goes on, we'll be able to watch and observe as to whether or not this Monarch defensive back line holds up as strongly in the center as they have been thus far. But they have not been allowing hardly a thing to the Knights over on that side of the field.
Katrina Gardner's going to boot this one towards the middle. It goes right directly to a Monarch. Methodist back in control. That's number 18, Jocelyn Gallardo. They're looking for Sanchez over on the near side. Ella Thomas is right there to close any opportunity off. The Knights send it back out of bounds. Thomas there to stop it again. Arello trying to fancy move, but it goes off her. Knights back with the throw, and this is Claire Thomas again. And now Morgan Romney is going to attempt to clear towards Mabel Harris. Going to get it by a Monarch defender. 2 versus 1. Mabel Harris goes down, and a penalty on Methodist. That was Allie Carter there taking Mabel Harris down. She looks to be fine and will proceed. Ella Thomas, her teammate, making sure she's all right.
Now, Quinn, this is quite the aggressive Monarch squad. Believe it or not, they are actually averaging 1 yellow card a game.
Compared to, I think you said, the Knights have 1 yellow card this entire season.
Yes, this Knight squad is a disciplined squad. They don't draw a whole lot of penalties. Not to say that they don't come, but they do seem to avoid those yellow cards.
Annalise Huber looking for her teammate Tessa Miller up the far side. That's going to be rejected by Methodist. Now McKenna Winterton back in control with it in the middle of the field. She will reset things for her teammate Paige Varvarigos. Looking for a through, but that's broken up by Sanchez. Goes off the back of her heel. Or no, they're going to say that's off a Knight defender, and Methodist will throw in. That was Cameron Acevedo. Setting up her teammate in the middle of the field. Looking for Sanchez on a through ball. Methodist still in control. But a good defensive approach by Claire Stevens breaks up any possible Monarch attack.
And it seems to me thus far that the Knight squad has been just unable to get their communication quite right so far in this game. I'm sure they'll be looking to right that in the minutes to come.
Morgan Romney is going to steal that and send Tessa Miller up the far side. That ball goes a bit too in front of her. A good box out by Methodist on Claire Stevens. But the Knights will still get to it and send it out of bounds for a Monarch throw-in. And another thing we failed to mention was it's an overcast, pretty breezy day. But nonetheless, I still think a pretty good day for soccer to be running around out there.
Oh, absolutely. In my personal opinion, this is about as perfect a weather for sports as you could ask for.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure the players are quite enjoying the cool weather in comparison to the high temperatures that they have seen recently.
This is Haley Gadd looking for a teammate up the near side. That's going to go off a Monarch right to Macy Rackham. And they'll send it back to Annalise Huber. Huber's going to nicely set up Tessa Miller. She'll try to play catch with Macy Rackham, but it goes a bit too far for Tessa Miller, and the Monarchs will throw in again. Macy Rackham in pursuit. Simpkins is going to clear it to her defender. Having a little trouble with it. Now Sanchez is on it, guarded by Claire Thomas. Now Haley Gadd in the middle of the field. Looking for McKenna Winterton, a nice box out. She's got some space. Let's see what she does with it. Trying to cut towards the middle, but a good defensive play by Methodist to break it up.
Once again, this Methodist team seems so intent of covering the center of the field right near the box. The Knights have been unable to get the ball into that zone, into that area of the field, almost at all.
Very stingy defense corps for Methodist, and on top of that, they've been racking up the goals so far this year. As mentioned, Sanchez with 7 on the year. This is Macy Rackham now. A through ball from McKenna Winterton. She's got some space. In on the keeper and sent it into the goal. A score by McKenna Winterton. 1-0 Knights, just over 14 minutes into this one.
A beautiful through ball, beautiful ball work for McKenna. Swerving around a few defenders there and beautifully placed into the back of the net.
A really sweet pass also by Macy Rackham to find McKenna, who had a step on the D. And he was able to send it right by Simpkins, the keeper, for a 1-0 Knights lead.
Now, for this recently discouraged Knight squad, this first goal means quite a bit.
It means a lot, as they've also been shut out the past couple of games from Lynchburg, the ODAC champions, as well as W&L, Washington and Lee, just down the road in Lexington. So as Nick said, this all-important first goal can go a long way for the Knights today. Macy Rackham in pursuit of the defender. Good pressure by Claire Stevens to step up, but the Monarchs get it back. He'll leave it off for another teammate, but that sails out of bounds and a Knight throw-in.
So as you were saying, Quinn, this is the first goal that the Knights have scored in multiple games. Do you feel like this changes the pace of play or aggression out of the Knights ladies?
Well, yeah, I think scoring the first goal certainly puts Methodist a bit on their heels, maybe a bit unsettled and hesitant with the ball. So this certainly gives the Knights an advantage going forward, and I think if they keep the pressure going, they have a good chance of going up 2-0. So this is Claire Stevens on the throw, and she'll get it back. It's going to bounce out of bounds, and the Knights will retain possession for another throw-in. They're going to set up Macy Rackham. Good box out. Nice move between the legs, and she's going to get back to Morgan Romney, who sends it into the box near where Mabel Harris is, but the Monarchs steal it.
Seemed like just a bit too much juice on that one for Mabel Harris. Couldn't quite regain control of the ball as it approached her.
And that one's going to be too far for, I think that was Yaneli Sanchez. Rolls out of bounds, back to the Knights. This is Claire Thomas directing traffic for Southern Virginia. It's going to bounce off a couple of heads, and Methodist back in control. McKenna Winterton and Mabel Harris giving pursuit of the ball. Really nice trap. That was number 10, Marshall Hewitt. Now the Monarchs back on the attack. It's Sanchez on goal, and a really nice save by Katrina Gardner. Coach Dahl mentioned before there's been a bit of a keeper rotation for the Knights this year, but he's really liked how Katrina's been able to direct traffic in front of her, and she's really been a bit of an emotional leader for the Knights.
Yes, really good command of that Knights back line. Done quite well in the saves department, averaging about 70% saves on the shots on goal. So Coach Dahl quite pleased with her performance thus far and quite confident in her ability moving forward.
It's a bit of back and forth with possession here. Monarchs back in control deep in the Knights' end. Clara Thomas is going to stand up Rihanna Orello. Orello, a senior from Fayetteville, North Carolina. And now it's Azevedo sending it towards the box. Now it's going to deflect off Annalise Huber, I think. Mabel Harris also in the vicinity, and that'll be a penalty on Methodist. And the Knights will retain possession.
And just a bit too much contact in there. Jumped right into a Knight. Couldn't avoid the penalty.
Morello sending it back towards the middle, but Tessa Miller's there to disrupt it. Now the Monarchs back on the attack. That's a through ball looking for the forward on the far side for Methodist. It was too far for her, and a goal kick for Gardner. Got Clara Thomas looking for Macy Rackham. It's going to deflect off a Monarch defender. And the Knights are going to go and try and go quickly. There's a Clara Thomas setting up Mabel Harris, going back towards the middle of the field, where Annalise Huber will take control. She's got quite a bit of space and lots of speed. Looking for Tessa Miller. It just goes right past her outstretched leg, out of bounds for a goal kick to Methodist.
Yes, fantastic idea there. Would have led to a great opportunity. Just couldn't quite connect.
This goal kick up for grabs. Annalise Huber's going to head that one towards the far side. Morgan Romney is going to poke at it, keep it in bounds, and the Monarchs back on the attack. They're going to find Sanchez with a through ball, and Katrina Gardner's going to have to smartly come out and grab hold of that one. Another dangerous opportunity. As Nick mentioned earlier, a lot of this attack is centered off the speed of Yaneli Sanchez.
Yes, this Monarch squad loves to play through Sanchez. They will give her every opportunity on goal that they can.
Marcia Hewitt sending it towards the goal, and a nice save to scoop it up by Katrina Gardner, the sophomore from Orem, Utah, out of Bingham High School.
And even more impressive about Sanchez, Quinn, is that she is a freshman, and this team right now is using her as the focal point of their offense.
Yeah, she's certainly been thrown right in the middle of the spotlight, but she's been able to relish in that role so far this year. And speaking of freshmen, Nick, we talked a little bit about how many freshmen are on the roster for the Knights this year. So can you just speak on a little bit of how Coach Dahl seems to approach his recruiting and how he's been able to replenish this roster with a lot of young talent?
Yes, Quinn. So this Knights roster actually has 20 total freshmen on the team.
Morgan Romney sending a through ball for Macy Rackham. She's got some space, going to send it towards the goal, and a good save by Carolina Simpkins to disrupt that Knight attack. Sorry, Nick.
No worries. There's a bit of an awkward angle there on the shot, unable to get quite enough power to find some net. Anyway, yes, this Knight squad has 20 freshmen on the team, 3 of which actually started tonight. Yes, and Coach Dahl, always looking for fresh talent, always willing to bring these ladies in and give them an opportunity to show what they're worth, what they can do. And quite a bit of contact there on the field.
Lots of physicality right now by the Monarchs defenders. Crowd reacting to that one. I think that's a penalty on Allie Carter. Not sure if I could see. There was a card there presented to her. As I was looking down as she was approached by the official, but nonetheless the Knights will have a free kick.
Yes, and as I was saying, always giving these freshmen opportunity to play and show what they have.
There's Claire Stevens lofting one towards the box, and it bounces off a couple of bodies and cleared by Methodist. It's going to get back to Claire Stevens about 30 yards out from the goal. A couple of Knights going down, as well as a Monarch. And Annalise Huber now back in control for Southern Virginia. She's going to try and lead Claire Thomas, then take down a Monarch. That was Yaneli Sanchez going down. And I think that's a penalty on the Knights possibly. Or no, they say play on rather. My mistake.
Yes, and you'll see, Quinn, as the season progresses, that these ladies benefit tremendously from the stiff competition that they've been facing. There is nothing that improves the communication and skill, just overall capability of a squad like this, facing this kind of competition does.
This is Clara Thomas. She's got a little bit of space, but she's going to clear it right towards a Monarch. They're back on the attack. Lots of contact between Haley Gadd and Marshall Hewitt. That shot's going to be sent towards Katrina Gardner, and she will slow things down. So about 25 minutes into this one, A goal by McKenna Winterton to give the Knights a 1-0 lead, her third on the year. And with that, lots of offensive opportunities for both teams and a lot of physicality as we saw there. Haley Gadd going down, as I think Marshall Hewitt kind of took the legs out from under her. That'll be a free kick for Clara Thomas.
Seemed that the referee had to take a moment to have a word with Marshall Hewitt.
And Nick, it seems like, Methodist, they're starting to apply a lot more pressure, lots of physicality. So for the Knights, it's pretty important to stay on their game and stay focused. And here's a chance, but it's going to be blown dead. I think that was a penalty on Tessa Miller of the Knights, as she was in alone in front of Simpkins.
Yes, it would seem that Tessa Miller caught some of the leg of the defender there. Ultimately called a foul.
Yep, so good call by the official. And this will be a free kick right in front of the goal. So Carolina Simpkins will take it for the Monarchs. Simpkins boots this one towards the middle of the field. Morgan Romney was there to reject that one. So we'll send it back towards the Monarchs goal again. A good defensive play by Allie Carter. She'll take possession, trying to lead Yaneli Sanchez. Goes by her, and that's going to roll out of bounds for a throw-in deep in the Knights' territory. That one's going to deflect off a Monarch again. Another throw-in for the Knights.
Now, it would seem that some of the momentum post-goal for the Knights has faded, and these Monarchs are surging. They're coming out strong with aggression. Referee plays advantage.
Methodist will take this one. This is number 27, Cameron Acevedo. In pursuit is Mabel Harris of the ball. That one's rejected by Claire Thomas. Now Varvarigos will clear that one for the Knights. Goes out of bounds. Macy Rackham tried to save it, but none doing. A Monarch throw-in now.
Anyway, continuing. Monarchs surging, seeming intent on evening the score before we come to half.
They're certainly trying to put the Knights back under pressure as Mabel Harris tripped up a bit by Azevedo, but she's still in control, looking for McKenna Winterton. That goes just under her foot. And Methodist has an opportunity to clear. Good pressure, though, by Claire Thomas and Mabel Harris on Marshall Hewitt. She's taken down. Methodist now clears it back towards Haley Gadd, defender for the Knights.
Good idea to clear there for the Monarchs. Just a bit too much going on their side of the field. Give their ladies an opportunity to reset. And now they begin their own attack.
Methodist looking for some momentum offensively. Stood up there by Annalise Huber, then she's taken down. This one's going to go out of bounds, and a penalty, I think, on Methodist as Huber went down. Lots of contact again, lots of physicality here in this first half. The referee trying to simmer things a little bit. Just over 18 minutes to play in the first half. Again, this is a rematch from the USA South Championship game last year, where Methodist came out on top 3-1. Knights trying to return the favor here in this first USA South Conference matchup of the 2023 season. This one's going to bounce right to the feet of McKenna Winterton, looking for a through ball. That's Mabel Harris in pursuit. She's got a couple attackers with her on the rush. She'll pull up, survey the field, looking for Varvarigos, but she gets broken up. Lots of contact again, and Methodist will clear.
Yes, and another good clearance from Methodist. Simply too many Knights on that side of the field.
Marshall Hewitt was going after that one, and smartly Katrina Gardner is able to clear it towards the far side, right between the benches. And Methodist will throw in as we got a few subs coming in. I think we saw Ellie Owen, the midfielder, freshman from South Jordan, Utah, coming in for the Knights. Couldn't quite catch who else came in. But both squads making some substitutions with just over 17 minutes to play in the first half.
Now, Quinn, you mentioned that this was, in fact, a rematch of that championship game. What would it mean for this Knight squad to come away with a win today?
It's important. Obviously, getting a win today would boost the confidence of the Knights, as they've had a tough few games to start this season. So it definitely bodes well for the rest of the season if they get a victory today. Methodist in control with it near the Knights' goal. They're going to send one towards Katrina Gardner, but that deflects off a Knight defender. I think that was Morgan Romney getting a leg to it. That'll sail out of bounds. A throw in. Looks like Acevedo will take it. Macy Rackham's got room in the middle of the field right on top of the Knights logo. She'll make a couple of cuts. Trying to buy some time now. Clara Thomas with it. She'll find Mabel Harris on the near side. Methodist giving her all sorts of room. She tries to look for McKenna Winterton streaking down the near side, but that goes too far for her. Out of bounds, a goal kick to Methodist.
Yeah, it's just a bit of a miscue there. Seemed that McKenna Winterton was pulling up, slowing down right as the pass came through. You get those ladies on the same page. We are looking at possibility of another shot on goal there.
Appeared to go off the elbow of a Monarch. That was number 12, Kelsey Burge, in the vicinity. Mabel Harris goes down. Now Annalise Huber, the Knights, will regain control. This is Audrey McKeon, who had just subbed in. She'll lose it. Clara Thomas going to boot that one off a Monarch, and it'll be a throw-in back to her. Again, looking for Audrey McKeon on the far side. She'll just clear it out of harm's way back towards Carolina Simpkins of Methodist.
Now, these Knights are finding themselves put onto the ground quite frequently so far in this match. How do you feel like that affects their mental state? How do you feel like that'll affect their game?
I think they're mentally prepared well. They played a few tough teams early in their schedule, so I think the Knights are prepared for it. As Katrina Gardner dribbles around a couple of Monarchs. Dangerous times for the Knights, but they're going to keep control now. Mabel Harris looking for Clara Thomas. They'll play catch and reset things. This is Morgan Romney now. Mabel Harris tries to make her way around Renelli Sanchez. A penalty called on her and a free kick for Southern Virginia. And Nick, to go off of, we've mentioned a lot about the Knights' really difficult schedule as the Knights try to mount an attack here. They most recently played the ODAC champion Lynchburg, resulting in an 0-2 loss, as well as W&L. Their most recent tie was against Ferrum. So how do you think they've fared so far this season, considering the really stiff competition?
Well, Quinn, just as you've said, these were difficult teams. I mean, these are teams that are coached well, conditioned well, and they've played together. Not quite so young is our Knights, and so yes, they've put up some quite difficult competition for our Lady Knights, and unfortunately the the Knights coming up with the win less often than they would like.
And Coach Dahl did mention in our pregame interview with him that some of the women on the team have been a little bit discouraged, despite knowing that those are difficult opponents that they faced. But he also said that they've been in pretty much every game they've played, even against the likes of Lynchburg and Washington and Lee, who are borderline nationally ranked teams. And so the Knights, despite the tough schedule and their record, seem to be a much better team than that gives off.
Yes, I feel, Quinn, that we see a lot of the competition of those games coming into evidence tonight here, showing in the play of these Lady Knights tonight, what they've been able to do against these Monarchs thus far.
McKenna Winterton. Knights with an attack mounting, sends it towards the goal, but easily gathered by Carolina Simpkins. That was number 14 of the Knights, Jane Peterson. She's a freshman from Gilbert, Arizona, out of Highland High School. She's going to disrupt that Monarch attack. It goes out of bounds off her, though. And this one's going to roll back to Morgan Romney, who was looking for McKenna Winterton in the middle of the field. Methodist back on the attack. Really nice spin move there by Methodist, but Claire Stevens is going to nicely clear that one away towards Mabel Harris and Azevedo.
All right, Quinn, I've got a question for you. And I will wait until after this play.
Yaneli Sanchez going after it. Morgan Romney in pursuit. Leading scorer for the Monarchs, attacking. Pushed out of bounds. I think that's just going to be result in a goal kick for Southern Virginia. So really nice defense by Morgan Romney on the leading goal scorer for Methodist.
All right, my question now is, Quinn, if anyone, who is going to score the next goal of this half? I want you to call your shot. Whose foot is finding the net?
If I had to take a guess, obviously for our Knights, I would say Audrey McKeon's had a lot of good offensive opportunities throughout the year. I think in their last game at home against Ferrum, she did have a goal, but it was called back because of an offside call. So she's been playing very aggressive this year, has had a lot of opportunities, and she is a goal scorer this year for the Knights. So I would have to go in that direction with Audrey McKeon. How about you, Nick?
I like that choice, Quinn. I like that choice. Personally, not that I disagree with you here, but my personal choice.
And here's Macy Rackman getting it real quick, Nick. But it's going to be broken up by Methodist. A good defensive play. They're going to get it right back. Macy Rackman in control, looking for McKenna. Looking for some space, but she's going to send it through for Macy Rackham into the box, and it's covered by Carolina Simpkins. A good play by her to drop to the ground and recover as Macy Rackham was in the vicinity looking for hers.
What an opportunity. These Monarchs just finding a way to disrupt and gain possession of the ball.
As here's a goal kick for Methodist, but Nick, you may continue from
Yes.
your previous point.
My personal shot call here.
A couple of substitutions being made. That's Morgan Romney and Mabel Harris going off for the Knights. And back in there is Maddie Staples and number 12, Bailey Ricker.
I like what I've seen out of Macy Rackham. I think she's going to come up with a big game this evening.
A very good choice. She's been all over the ball, attacking it defensively as well as offensively as she lofts this one towards the box. Audrey McKeon goes down. Now Macy Rackham back with it. Lots of battle for possession here just outside the Monarchs box. And unfortunately, Claire Stevens is going to clear that one a bit too far for Audrey McKeon, and the Monarchs have a throw-in. Stevens will send it towards the box. This is Macy Rackham dropping it for Winterton. She makes a nice cut to the outside, send it towards the goal. It's going to deflect off, I think, a Monarch defender, and rolls nicely towards Simpkins to easily grab it.
And just over 10 minutes left in the half.
This is number 25, Ellie Owen for the Knights. She's going to get it to the far side for McKeon. Really nice through ball, looking for Clara Thomas on the near side this time. She's got time and space, lofts it towards the goal, up high. Good deflection there by Simpkins. The Knights are going to say it's a corner, and it will be. So a really good decision by Clara Thomas to loft that one up high, almost getting over the outstretched hand of Carolina Simpkins.
Absolutely, and she got up there, Quinn. There's a reason why her save percentage is so high this season, and you saw it at work right there on that shot attempt.
Knights are going to make another substitution. That's McKenna Winterton coming off as Macy Rackham lofts it into the box, looking for a teammate. Lots of contact, but Methodist able to stave it off. That'll roll out of bounds. Clara Thomas for the Knights back to throw it in here on that near side, bottom of your screen. Way up high it goes. Might have been an awkward header for that Monarch forward. That's number 12, Kelsey Borge.
Yes, I think caught it a little bit lower on her head than she would have liked.
Annalise Heber's going to clear this one back towards Macy Rackham. Good pressure from the Knights. This is McKeon now. But Methodist able to steal that one back. And with just over 8 minutes to play in the first half, you know Methodist desperately wants to mount some sort of offensive attack, as they've been stymied quite well by the Knights in the last few minutes.
Yes, Quinn. And back to that that header opportunity. For the fans at home, the ideal position to be hitting that ball with your head is right on your forehead. And that's made a little bit more difficult when the ball is coming at such a high arc. So when it's coming down at that from that height, at that velocity, it's hard to gauge when exactly you need to get into the air, when to engage.
Here's a steal by Bailey Ricker as she gets taken down, as she had quite a clear path towards the goal. But the Knights are going to be rewarded a free kick. We'll see who takes it. A really heavy fall by Bailey Ricker. But she is up and making her way towards the box. Another good opportunity for the Knights. Let's see if they can convert on this one.
As I was saying, if you time those wrong, you take it off of the top of the head, which doesn't feel good.
Into the box it goes, deflected off ahead. And Carolina Simpkins will calmly grab that one. And going back to Nick's point, it's a pretty high arcing ball. And probably didn't get all of that on the header that they wanted. Methodist back in pursuit. Annalise Huber also showing lots of speed, is going to smartly clear that one out of bounds away from Yaneli Sanchez. And now Cameron Acevedo will throw in for the Monarchs. Lots of wind. You can see a Night Rugby tent down below, almost blown away.
The trees off to the side, catching quite a bit of that breeze. Should come into play a bit with the ball here.
Good defensive play there. That was number 29, Maddie Staples, and a good clear by Audrey McKeon. Great play to get it to her teammate Emmy Giles, who makes her way around a Monarch defender. Then it's disrupted again. Bailey Ricker sent it back to her teammate Clara Thomas, who couldn't handle the pass. It goes out of bounds, and a throw-in for Methodist. Just under 6 minutes remaining in the first half of play. Knights lead 1-0 off of a McKenna Winterton goal, her third on the year. Now Audra McKeon looking for some room. It's going to lead Clara Thomas. Let's see if she gets there in time. She will. Send it into the box and a bit too high for, I think that was number 7, Mattia Murray. And it'll be out of bounds, a Monarch throw-in.
Exciting opportunity there, and I think she felt it. Knights looking to increase the lead before the half comes to a close. Just over 5 minutes of play left.
Methodist is going to clear that one. A good trap. That was number 12, Kelsey Borge. But she gets it taken away from her by Clara Thomas. Good hustle by number 13. I think that is... Yep, that was 13, Emmy Giles. Knights back on the attack. Elliot Owen sending it through into the middle of the field, but a good play defensively by Alyssa Morell. Now Methodist in the middle of the field trying to mount an attack. Lots of speed, a good through ball. And here come the Monarchs. That's Yaneli Sanchez, sends it into the goal. But that's offside, I believe.
Sideline ref seems to have lost his shoe trying to keep up with these ladies.
Yeah, a bit of chaos going there in that attack by Methodist. It will be offside, as Methodist had two attackers, Yaneli Sanchez and Kelsey Borge, all alone in front of Katrina Gardner. But I think offside will be the call.
And just maybe by a step or two. Those ladies certainly weren't off by far.
So again, Nick, we've seen a few of those opportunities where Sanchez has been able to find her way through the Knights defense and have a couple of dangerous opportunities. And fortunately for the Knights, offside presented that one.
Yes, well, she is quick, Quinn. She's quick, agile, and loves to take the shot when the opportunity arises.
Yaneli Sanchez with 50 shots attempted coming into the day, 35 of those being on goal. This is Methodist with a free kick right behind the midfield line. Ref's going to tell Allie Carter to back it up a little bit.
Yes, this will give the Monarchs an opportunity to set up offensively, get themselves another opportunity on goal. Let's see how the Knights defend.
They're going to boot that one just outside the box. Good rejection by Maddie Staples. Now Audra McKean in pursuit, but a really nice move there by Rihanna Orello. Still in control, and they'll reset back to their defenders. Allie Carter again lofting that one. Yaneli Sanchez trying to cherry pick a little bit and find some room for herself. She makes a really nice move around Ellie Owen. Still with it is Yaneli Sanchez.
Yeah, Sanchez looking to make a break around the corner there, get herself another opportunity, but
good
unable.
Steal by Methodist. This is Borge going in, and a good defensive play. I think that was Annalise Huber who's looking for a call. As a bit of a miscommunication there, I think, by Audra McKeon, and her teammate allowed the Methodist Monarchs a really dangerous opportunity.
Yes, Borge looking like she was prepping to shoot, just couldn't find quite the right footing in order to get it off. Unable to get to top speed and Knight defender taking advantage of the unsurety of the moment.
Looks like the ref's going to call a penalty. Maybe a bit too much contact in the back from Audra McKean of the Knights. And with just over a minute remaining in the first half, a really good opportunity for the Monarchs. Allie Carter's going to take this free kick as Methodist will load up near the box, goes towards the goal, and a nice opportunity for a header, but it goes way over the net as a Monarch forward found herself with lots of room on the far side of the goal, but it goes over the crossbar for a goal kick.
Now with a little under a minute left, there is a Monarch down as we have the trainer come out. I'm going to ask you, Quinn. I used the word unsurety earlier. Is that a word?
Could be. I say if you use it, go ahead.
You know, I like it.
Maybe we'll stick to uncertainty.
Uncertainty is probably the better word there. Made enough sense that you knew what I meant.
So 47 seconds remaining in the first half of play. A little bit of rain coming down, lots of wind as well. On an overcast day here at Knight Stadium, both teams will reconvene and talk things over as a couple of trainers attending to the Monarch forward. She's back up on her feet.
Always a good sign, Quinn. Always something that we love to see. And that is number 2, Cameron Piper.
So she'll make her way off with help from her athletic trainer. And the Knights will ready themselves for another goal kick off that free kick by the Monarchs.
And now we come to the restart. Give Katrina Gardner an opportunity to take the ball out.
This one's going to sail about 40 yards out. Ellie Owen, a nice trap from her chest down to her feet. And Clara Thomas will clear this one. It's going to bounce off the knee of a Monarch defender. Really nice move there by Bailey Ricker. And that'll eventually deflect off Methodist, and a throw-in for the Knights with just over 20 seconds remaining. Knights trying to mount one last attack. Looking for Audra McKean on the near side. And she'll just end up clearing it towards Carolina Simpkins.
Now, if they move quick, the Monarchs can get one last shot off. Does not look like they will make that attempt.
And she'll clear it, but it'll be too late. Last seconds tick off in the first half. And we will end this half. Knights in command with a 1-0 lead off of a McKenna Winterton strike. A really nice through ball on that goal from Macy Rackham. And the Knights will head to halftime, leading the defending USA South champs, who I believe are on a 23-game conference winning streak. So big moment here for Southern Virginia, and they'll talk things over and hopefully come out even stronger in the second half of play. So, Nick, last takeaways of the first half before we take a break for a few minutes.
Yes, Quinn. The Monarchs, while behind, look strong. They've got a great defensive line. The defense has been doing quite well, with the exception of the one opportunity where that the Knights took and scored. It seems like their opportunities to get the ball to Sanchez have been squandered more often than they would like. perhaps these Knights defenders are well aware of what the Monarchs are trying to do and trying to squander that at every opportunity.
Very good. So we will take just a few-minute break before the second half of play resumes in about 15 minutes. And we will start that also with a message from our sponsors. Thank you very much, and we will see you in just a few minutes. Welcome back, everyone, to the second half of play in this afternoon's soccer match between the Methodist Monarchs and your Southern Virginia University Knights. The Knights lead 1-0, leading into the second half of play off of a goal by McKenna Winterton, assisted by Macy Rackham. And as we get things going here, we wanted to thank the following sponsors of Knights Athletics for their continued support of our athletic programs: Cornerstone Bank, Mill Creek Orthodontics, River Crossing Apartments, Straws Drinks and Eats. Come to Straws, or yesterday rather, was their Star Wars Trivia Night, but also Grace Automotive, where SVU students and staff can receive 10% off their maintenance needs. Also Papa John's Pizza, locally owned and operated. Vinyl Cuts, The Beeve, Sweet Souvenirs, Katana Sushi, and Hibachi Express. And if you would like to partner with Knights Athletics to promote your business to the Knight Nation, please contact Brett Schroeder at 801-633-1894. So the Knights off and running on the attack to start the second half of play. And Nick, a lot of physicality in that first half, but we also saw during halftime lots of rain fell onto the field in between halves. So do you think that might have some sort of an effect on the play this half?
Well, absolutely, Quinn. I mean, looking out on the field, you can kind of see a couple of wet spots here and there, not too bad. But with the amount of contact that we saw in the last half and the rain that has come down, I imagine we're going to see quite a number of ladies hit the floor once again.
So obviously ball control and protecting it in your own territory will be super important, as it might be a little easier to slide and go down in these conditions, as Allie Carter and the Monarchs are on the attack with a free kick just about 40 yards outside the Knights' goal. She's going to load up and send it into the box. It's a high one off the head of an attacker, and it's going to go in for the Monarchs. Looks like it might have been offsides, though, and it will be. Can see the referee on the sideline pointing his flag towards the middle. So another good break for the Knights. There's been a couple of those opportunities that were eventually called offsides that could have resulted in Methodist goals.
Yeah, second great opportunity pulled back for the Monarchs there. The Knights breathe a sigh of relief. So I'm sure the Monarchs will be watching that offside call very closely moving forward.
As it looked like it went off the head of a Monarch attacker, went high up into the air, and eventually Katrina Gardner was caught out of position. But the next Monarch attacker was offsides, as they are back on the attack looking for more. Good steal by the Knights, as a lot of their starters were subbed back in for the start of the second half.
Now, to speak a bit more on the rain situation, for those of you that were interested in tuning into the rugby game later this evening, that game has been postponed. If I get information on the time it has been moved to, I will let you know as the game progresses.
That one's going to bounce out of bounds. A goal kick, I believe. It's Claire Stevens going to send it over towards Katrina Gardner. Two saves for Katrina on the day. She's going to boot that one towards a Methodist attacker. And here's an opportunity for Yaneli Sanchez. A good play by Ella Thomas to stand her up defensively. So boot that one back out of bounds, a throw in for Methodist. That one's going to bounce into the box. Here's an opportunity for Methodist. They're going to sky that one over the goal. Another dangerous opportunity. It looks like they might rule a corner. They will. That's Yaneli Sanchez going over to take it for Methodist.
And we can see already a change in tactic from the Methodist squad here. The ball
Good punch out by Katrina Gardner. It's still loose, up for grabs. It goes off McKenna Winterton's foot. She's after it. Lots of speed. She's going to get by the defender. She's got a teammate breaking. That's Macy Rackham, I think, in front. Now McKenna's going to break towards the goal. And it looks like offsides, I think, is the call. That's a tough call to make because it looked like Macy Rackham clearly was behind or was in front of the last defender there of the Monarchs. The Knights will dispute it, as well as the fans.
Yes, an interesting call there. As I was saying, it would seem that there's been quite a change in tactic coming out of this Monarch squad. Already in the half, we're seeing them come out a lot more aggressively and getting the ball down into the box of the Knights with more consistency.
So it will be a free kick for Methodist. As they're going to send that one towards the Knight logo. Bit too aggressive there is Morgan Romney, and a free kick right on top of the logo for Methodist.
Yes, bit of a push in the back there, attempting to get ahead on the ball. Create some space.
This is Allie Carter, freshman from Graham, North Carolina, attending Southern Alamance High School. Claire Stevens is going to get to that one. So is Annalise Huber. DiDomenico is going to shield that one from Macy Rackham, and she'll throw it back in for the Monarchs. So as Nick mentioned, a bit of a change in tempo offensively for the Monarchs. Lots of pressure on the Knights as they've been put back on their heels for the start of the second half. Claire Stevens is going to steal this one and clear to the near side, but a good hustle play to get to it from Methodist, but it does eventually bounce out off them. And the Knights looking to regain control.
Yes, it'll be interesting to see how the Knights will respond to this change in tempo without an opportunity to regroup and all speak with Coach Dahl simultaneously. I imagine as subs come in and out, he'll be having a talk with each of these girls individually. But we will see as the half progresses.
Rihanna Orello goes back to throw it in. She gets it to her teammate DiDomenico. It's going to float into the box. Another chance develops for the Monarchs, but the Knights stave it off. This is Macy Rackham looking for McKenna Winterton, too far in front of her. A couple of change in possessions take place. The Knights reset for Annalise Huber. Morgan Romney's got Tessa Miller breaking down the near side. She's going to get to it first. She's got a couple of attackers in the middle. She'll send it towards the box. And a good play by Carolina Simpkins to scoop it up and slow things down for Methodist.
Yeah, seemed a bit uncomfortable on the kick for Tessa. Unable to get that out away from the goal enough to get it to the player she wanted.
A lot of contact there between Allie Carter and Macy Rackham. Eventually Rackham called on the penalty and a free kick for the Monarchs.
Quinn, I am still convinced Macy Rackham is going to come away with a goal in today's game.
Tessa Miller a little hesitant to get to it, but eventually she does. But it does bounce to Jocelyn Gallardo. Lots of contact there. That was Macy Rackham again with Allie Carter, I believe. Both players go down. And this will be a penalty on Rackham again. Looks like she got a bit of a warning from the referee.
Yes, he was not pleased with the play there. But Macy Rackham coming out showing a lot of heart, a lot of aggression.
Tessa Miller going to clear this one for McKenna Winterton. Rolls off her foot out of bounds. Rackham in pursuit, but won't get there in time. Throw in for the Monarchs. Haley Gadd's going to get to that one. So is Marshall Hewitt in the vicinity, taken down by Annalise Huber, another penalty called on the Knights. And this will set up a free kick just about 30 yards outside the Knights' goal. And here again we mentioned critical moments for the Knights. And Coach Dahl did mention he really likes what Katrina's done this year in goal for the Knights. Really good at directing traffic in front of her, telling her defenders where to be. This one lofts into the box. A couple of Monarchs streaking through the middle, but it'll go past them and past the goal for a goal kick. So a couple of saves on the day for Katrina. What have you liked out of her so far, Nick?
Well, she has looked strong and confident back there, able to move her backline players to where she feels that she needs them. Hasn't looked too pressured on the shots on goal thus far. And aside for those two opportunities where the Monarchs ultimately ended up offside, she's had a clean game. You know, I've got zero complaints with her play today. She's looked quite good.
12 saves on the season coming into the day for Katrina. She's added 2 to that number to make it 14 for her. This being her fourth start on the year. Tessa Miller's going to head that, trying to get in front of the defender, Deep Dominico. Good steal by Macy Rackham. 2 Monarchs and 2 Knights jostling for possession. Eventually it goes off Claire Stevens and out of bounds.
And as we reset, I would just like to remind the friends, family, and fans out there that Knight students can receive a discount at Grace Automotive.
Mabel Harris looking for a through ball to McKenna Winterton. It rolls into the hands of Simpkins.
And at Grace Automotive, they can aid you in all of your auto repair needs.
It's going to bounce off Haley Gadd. Marshall Hewitt in pursuit. Annalise Huber is also there, fortunately, for the Knights. She'll boot that one out of bounds. A throw-in for Methodist. Just about 12 minutes gone in the second half of play. The Knights with a 1-0 lead. But Methodist, lots of offensive pressure in the early going of the second half so far.
Yes, the Monarchs are coming on strong, coming often into that back left corner, looking to lead their attack through freshman Yaneli Sanchez.
Claire Stevens will head this towards McKenna Winterton, but a good steal by number 5, Maddie Hernandez. She's a senior from Burlington, North Carolina, out of Western Alamance High School. Free ball and taken down on the play. Not sure which night that was, but Marshall Hewitt took her down. It might have been Haley Gadd, or Morgan Romney, rather. Haley Gadd, that is, took the most of that blow. Free kick for the Knights. This is Annalise Huber. Lots of speed down the middle.
And a strong defensive back once again for the Monarchs. The Knights will reset and press the attack.
Tessa Miller's going to head that one, looking for Macy Rackham. Too far for her, out of bounds. Another goal kick for Carolina Simpkins.
Now we see this aggression and rough play continuing out of the Monarchs. And frankly, we don't expect that to slow down anytime soon. This is kind of an identity for this squad. They come out and they play hard. And thus far this season, this style of play has been getting it done for them.
Really nice play there by Mabel Harris to get by a defender. But eventually just too many Monarchs are in the vicinity. They're back in control. And Marshall Hewitt and Annalise Huber collide. That's going to go in favor of Southern Virginia.
Marshall Hewitt not pleased with the call, but it did appear that she caught only leg. Didn't quite get any touch on the ball there. That's why the foul is called.
Annalise will take the free kick. Just in front of the Knights logo around midfield. She'll boot that one. Looking towards the box. McKenna Winterton's there, but it doesn't get to her. This is Aurello back in control for Methodist. Just a bit too far for her teammate Marshall Hewitt, and Haley Gadd resets for Katrina Gardner. This is McKenna Winterton with space. Tessa Miller's got Macy Rackham going through the middle, but doesn't get all of that pass.
No, not quite the touch she wanted. I think she was looking to center that ball just a bit more. Couldn't get the foot on it that she needed.
Simpkins back to kick it. 4 saves on the day for her. Double deflection off the heads of Morgan Romney and the Monarch defender. This is Macy Rackham now looking for space. Now McKenna Winterton with it just outside the box. Now Varvadigos a drive on, rather not on goal. It's going to go to the right of the post. And Simpkins not too worried about that one, as we have a couple of subs coming in for the Knights. Morgan Romney's going to go off, as well as Tessa Miller.
Now, I would like to note that while we can't hear them for this broadcast, the rugby team mentioned earlier, they're all in attendance for this game, and they seem to be having a grand time, making quite a bit of noise down on the field.
Despite the tough weather for spectators, that is, lots of Knight fans in attendance, as well as those representing Methodist University.
Well, I'm sure lots of these fans here are excited to break out the hoodies and the raincoats and the umbrellas, which haven't seen much use in months.
Nice play by Winterton to get it to her teammate. That one's going to bounce towards Simpkins. She'll calm things down and going to yell out directions for her teammates. This one's going to go towards Natalie Blazer for the Knights, who just subbed in along with Madison Solis. She has it now on the near side, looking for Macy Rackham.
Macy Rackham does a good job to avoid the offside call there. Checked her defender at the last moment.
Nice pass by Varvarigos, looking for Mabel Hare. She's got time and space. Really nice pass in the middle for Natalie Blazer, whose shot will deflect off or it doesn't deflect off a defender. Just a mishit that goes to the right side of the goal. And Simpkins is ready to kick in again.
Seems that she caught some contact in the box there. Not quite enough for a penalty, but definitely enough to disrupt the shot.
One's going to go through a bunch of bodies all the way back to Annalise Huber. Back and forth we go. Marshall Hewitt, a good play to regain possession for Methodist. Down the near side. Good play by Ella Thomas to get it out of harm's way. Thrown again for the Monarchs. Good stand-up defense by Claire Stevens. She's got it, deflects off of, I think that's number 15, Corinne Shovlin. One of the main offensive contributors to this Monarch squad. And Macy Rackham, lots of speed, a really nice through ball. She's got to step on the defender. She's going to pull up and look for a teammate. Really nice move to the inside, back outside she goes. But good defense there by number 26, Alyssa Morell, to deny that Knight's attack. Claire Stevens now on the throw-in.
Yes, and Morell not interested in trying to outhandle Rackham there.
That one's going to bounce off of Rackham, a goal kick for Methodist. Just over 25 minutes remaining in the second half of play. Both teams just with one corner on the day. Haven't seen too many of those, but we've seen our fair share of free kicks. This is Rackham, a nice play for Natalie Blazer on the near side, bottom of your screen, looking for Rackham. Good play by Domenico to break that Knights attack up. Throw in for Methodist.
Yes, and that'll deflect off of Rackham, ultimately.
A lot of change in possession. That one's going to deflect off the Knights again. Another throw in for Methodist, but good pressure by the Knights attackers on the ball.
Yes, Methodist looking just to find a way to reset, get some time. Knights pressing the attack.
Addison Solis, that gets broken up just at the top of the box. Now this is Cameron Azevedo back in control, trying to find her way around Ella Thomas. Can't do that. Now Mabel Harris back in control.
I'm sure just getting the ball out to that side of the field, though, is providing much-needed relief for this Monarchs defense.
Macy Rackham's going to find. It's going to be offside, though, on the far side on the Knights. So another free kick for Methodist. And so, Nick, a question for you is, what do you make so far in this game, pretty deep into it, of the Knights' defense? Coach Dahl mentioned that they want to close up the gaps in the middle, play a little tighter defensively to make it difficult on the attackers for Methodist, like Shovlin and Yaneli Sanchez, obviously. And how do you think the Knights have done so far with that?
Well, thus far, I mean, they're still pitching a shutout, if you will. However, there have been some opportunities where the Monarchs have pushed through and had great opportunities that have ultimately been pulled back. So I would say that the Knights' defensive line, or rather defensive back line, has been putting up a good game. I think there's some areas in which they'd like to tighten up. Not allow those good runs and through passes to happen there. But ultimately, doing quite well and performing quite strongly.
There's a free kick for the Knights. That was a penalty. Macy Rackham is the one that drew it for the Knights, and now Claire Stevens will get set to send this one towards the box. It's a low one, goes off the head of a Monarch defender, up for grabs in the middle. Ella Thomas looking for it. Looked like maybe a high kick or penalty of some sorts. And Methodist will stave that free kick off and have control again. Simpkins will boot that one to the far side. There's Mabel Harris to disrupt a couple of Monarchs. Now Morel will send it to the near side, looking for a streaking teammate. But that'll be too far for her. That was number 15, Corinne Shovlin. The Knights back to throw in quickly. This ball is going to roll back for Allie Carter, and then she'll just send it back towards the Knights' side. Marshall Hewitt in pursuit. Lots of contact with her and Haley Gadd, I believe. That one's going to go in the Knights' favor.
Yes, the Monarchs seeming to pull back a bit on their initial strategy and now appear to be waiting for the right opportunity, waiting for something to open up for them rather than pressing quite as hard as they had been.
It's a couple of more substitutions coming in for both sides. It looks like Mattia Murray came in for the Knights, as well as number 14, Jane Peterson. Jane's a freshman from Gilbert, Arizona. And then Mattia, a sophomore from Saratoga Springs, Utah. So throw in for Methodist right in front of the Knights bench in front of Coach Rob Dahl. That one's going to bounce off a Knight. Another throw in for Methodist. They keep inching closer and closer to the Knights' goal. So one's going to go up high and go back towards Cameron Azevedo.
Bit of rough play in there, but no calls.
Good disruption there by Ella Thomas. Out of bounds again in favor of Methodist. Just 20 minutes remaining. Knights trying to take down Methodist, the defending conference champions of the USA South. A rematch of the championship game just a year ago where Methodist came out on top 3-1. McKenna Winterton now in control. Looking for a team out. It's going to bounce off a Monarch and out of bounds. Throw in for Southern Virginia.
Yes, it appeared that she was looking for number 33, Natalie Blazer, on the pass.
This is Burgee for the Monarchs, broken up by Haley Gadd. It's going to stay inbounds, though, and then deflect off of Methodist, so an important throw-in for Southern Virginia there. Methodist trying to muster some kind of momentum offensively. The Knights have played very tight and have staved off a few opportunities for the Monarchs. Methodist now back in control. This is Di Domenico. It's going to bounce off her teammate's foot right to Claire Stevens. And now Annalise Huber will slow things down to Haley Gadd, her teammate. A good step up from a midfield position on the far side by a Monarch, but nonetheless the Knights still have control. That's Mattia Murray getting ahead for McKenna Winterton. She almost loses it, but now it's Natalie Blazer on the rush. She's got numbers with her now. McKenna Winterton going to look back for Natalie Blazer, but out to grab it is Carolina Simpkins smartly and deny any Knights opportunity.
Now Mattia Murray, back in the game, often a large part of the Knights' offensive play. What can we expect out of her tonight, or rather this evening?
Well, she's certainly a key part to the offense, as you said, Nick. Has started a few games for them this year, and obviously coming off the bench, she's going to have some fresh legs, so that'll boost the attack of the Knights' offense. This is Carolina Simpkins back in control with it. She's going to boot this one towards the middle of the field. It goes over a couple of her teammates. Now Madison Solis giving it to Mattia Murray. She's going to look down the near side of the sideline for Natalie Blazer. But Morell is going to let that one roll out of bounds. Another goal kick for Methodist.
Just too much on the pass from Mattia Murray.
So, Nick, with just under 17 minutes to play, do you think we'll see the Knights do a little bit of clock management and let the clock run down? Or do you think it's smart for them to stay on the attack and prevent Methodist from pressing forward to their goal?
Well, the problem with letting the clock run down in this scenario, Quinn, is that this Monarch team is not going to be interested in the slightest in letting that happen. And 16 minutes is still quite a bit of time for them to be pressing the attack. I think if the Knights defense is going to sit and try to slow down, it's going to open up a fair amount.
Chance for Natalie Blazer. She's going to shoot it just left of the goalpost. Out of bounds, a good chance for the Knights.
I think if the Knights defense were to try to slow this one down, it would more than likely open up more opportunities for the Monarchs than they would like. So I think the move here is to continue to press the attack, continue to try to score, put a little bit of insurance on the board.
That's a good point, Nick. You often see teams try to kill the clock and go back on their heels and slow things down, but oftentimes it turns out worse for them in that case. So it is good to, stick to your game and try to keep Methodists on their heels as much as they can to prevent them from even getting into your territory. This is down the left side, Yaneli Sanchez. That's going to be out of bounds, though, before she gets to it, and a throw-in for Southern Virginia. Just over 15 minutes remaining in this one. And as we take a short stoppage for a throw-in and substitutions, we wanted to announce one last time the following sponsors, and the Knights Athletic Department wants to thank them for their continued support of Knights Athletics. And those sponsors are Cornerstone Bank, Mill Creek Orthodontics, River Crossing Apartments, Straws Drinks and Eats, Grace Automotive, where SVU students and staff can receive 10% off their vehicle maintenance needs, Papa John's Pizza, locally owned and operated, Vinyl Cuts, The Beeve, Katana Sushi, and Hibachi Express. And if you would like to partner with Knights Athletics to promote your business to the Knight Nation, please contact Brett Schroeder at 801-633-1894. As the Knights a good defensive play, they're going to steal it, and out of the Blazer on the attack, but Methodist takes it right back. That's number 18, Jocelyn Gallardo. They're going to look for a through ball for Shovlin, too far in front of her, and the Knights will let that one roll out of bounds for a goal kick.
Now, I'll tell you, Quinn, I certainly wouldn't mind one of those Straws beverages right about now. It's certainly warm up here in this booth. We certainly recommend Straws Drinks and Eats to anyone resident or passing through Buena Vista. Lots of varieties and drinks and other treats. And I believe we've mentioned they just held their Star Wars trivia night. Believe it or not, the trivia questions were written by myself.
Our own Nicholas O'Connor.
Yes. What the word on the street, though, is that there was a team that got the answers to all but 2 of the questions that I wrote. So maybe next time I'll make them a little harder.
Knights trying to stave off this offensive attack from Methodist. Really nice steal by McKenna Winterton. Lots of speed going down the middle. Goes right by Allie Carter. Then she's taken down. A penalty is going to be called on Methodist. Really nice defensive play by McKenna, turning defense into offense.
And the yellow card will come out.
And I believe that's the first yellow on the day for either squad.
Yes. The Monarchs keeping up their average here.
And McKenna's going to be helped up by her teammates. Looks to be fine. Walking back towards the Monarchs' goal.
Now, Quinn, I was told to ask you, with the Straws next trivia night being Harry Potter trivia, what house are you, Quinn?
That is a great question, but as Coach Logan Davis, one of our assistant athletic directors, told me, I'm just going to remain a Muggle for now until we figure that out.
Unfortunate.
Knights with a free kick about 50 yards outside the Monarchs' goal. It's a low one. Methodist going to get to it, but now Annalise Huber back on it for the Knights. Owen's going to skip off of Shovlin. Tessa Miller, a quick throw and looking for McKenna Winterton. She'll give it back to Miller. And that one bounces towards Carolina Simpkins.
It's a nice bend on that ball.
And Simpkins isn't going to waste too much time to get it back into play. That one goes through the legs of Mattia Murray. And lots of back and forth with possession. That's Jocelyn Gallardo with it for Methodist, looking for a teammate on the far side.
Now, surprisingly, Quinn, the wet conditions don't seem to have affected play as much as we thought they might.
That one's going to go by Ella Thomas, an opportunity. I think that's Yaneli Sanchez on the far side. Is going to feed her teammate. But a really nice play defensively. I think that's Annalise Huber, who's been all over the field on both sides of the ball for Southern Virginia again today. Now a couple more substitutions being made. That looks like McKenna Winterton going out. And I think we're going to see more of Mabel Harris, Macy Rackham.
Mattia Murray will also be leaving the field.
Now ball bounces high up in the air, up for grabs still. Methodist will get that out of harm's way. But then they'll turn that back over to Southern Virginia. Mabel Harris goes just past her and a throw-in. Monarchs going to go quickly. Shoveling in pursuit for the Monarchs, but smartly coming out is Katrina Gardner for Southern Virginia.
Perhaps a bit too quickly on the play. Monarchs unable to react to the quick throw-in.
Natalie Blazer now for Tessa Miller. Nice little triangle of passes for Natalie Blazer now. She's got Macy Rackham right in the middle. She'll give it back to Blazer, too far in front of her. A miss hit by Rackham, and it goes out of bounds. Another goal kick for Methodist.
And we've seen Blazer and Rackham be able to get the ball back into this close corner several times. Just unable to get anything back over into the center and complete the opportunity there.
A chance for Rackham going into the goal, but Simpkins is going to come out smartly to gather it. As Macy Rackham all day has been hounding the Monarch defenders and creating countless opportunities for Southern Virginia. This is Ella Thomas now, given a shove in the back. And it's going to bounce back off of Azevedo for Clara Thomas to throw in, looking for Mabel Harris. Awkward bounce off a Monarch defender. Nice move by Natalie Blazer. She's got numbers going towards the Monarch goal. She'll cut to the inside. Nice pass for Mabel Harris, but it's just too far in front of her. She wasn't expecting it. And Simpkins will get ready to send this one back into the field of play.
I am sure she would love to have that touch back. To Rackham, that is.
Thrown for Methodist at the top of your screen. Macy Rackham, good pressure. It's going to bounce off of her as Methodist tried to boot it out of there. Another throw-in for Methodist, but deep in their own zone, so good job by Macy Rackham to apply pressure.
And Rackham has been that source of pressure all game long, constantly up in the face of the defenders, pressing the attack, providing opportunities for the Knights. Excellent play, excellent to watch her today.
This one's going to float just outside the box. Natalie Blazer trying to get to it, but Methodist will first. There's a chance for the Knights again, looking for Mabel Harris on the far side. She's going to try and strike it, but she gets taken down just before she can release. The ref says play on. Now Yaneli Sanchez in the middle of the field. Looking to start a rush for Methodist. That's Ella Thomas there to disrupt it, though. And that's going to deflect off a Monarch. Out of bounds, a throw-in for Southern Virginia. So if you're just joining us, SVU in the lead against Methodist. You're defending USA South champs. And Southern Virginia trying to end a 23-game unbeaten streak in conference play for Methodist. So a big moment here as we wind down to the last 8 minutes of play.
Absolutely, Quinn. Excited to see what each team brings forward for these last few minutes. We've seen a lot of excellent play out of Macy Rackham and Blazer here.
Natalie Blazer fell down as she tried to get it to Macy Rackham. But Methodist will just boot it out of bounds, and another throw-in for Southern Virginia. Tessa Miller looking for Macy on the near side. Domenico will disrupt that Knight attack and send it back out of bounds. Tessa Miller on the throw-in. She's got Morgan Romney now who will send it into the box. Good trap by Methodist. I think that was Allie Carter. And they'll get out of harm's way. Methodist still really needing to mount some sort of attack. This is Sanchez, their leading goal scorer. For Shovelin, another dangerous attacker for Methodist. She gets through Tessa Miller. That one's going to bounce into the box towards Katrina Gardner, but she'll safely gain possession of it.
Dangerous opportunity there. Knights quite fortunate it went their way.
Gardner's going to boot this one up high. And a good trap there by Macy Rackham. Almost gets by the Monarch defenders. But a good recovery by Morel. She gets tripped up a little bit by Rackham, then sends it out of bounds. Looks like it's going to be a free kick or a throw-in for Southern Virginia. More substitutions now for the Knights. Looks like that's Claire Stevens coming to take the throw-in. And Ella Thomas also coming back in for the Knights. It's going to go over the head of two players. Now Tessa Miller on the attack. Bounces off a lot of bodies. Now Claire Thomas has a whack at it. That's going to bounce past her teammate Macy Rackham out of bounds, and then the goal kick for Methodist.
Now, as the Monarchs reset here, heading into the final 5 minutes of play, what do they need to do in order to turn this around for themselves? What needs to change for the Monarchs?
Well, eventually at some point, they're going to start pressing more players towards the Knights' goal, as long as they can get some sort of quality possession. So for the Knights, you really have to look out for even their defenders pressing forward to take a shot at the goal and send it into the box. Big battle, 2 versus 2 there. Looked like it might have gone out of bounds, and the Knights will have a throw, and that's Claire Stevens here at the bottom of your screen.
Now, when you start pressing more players up for a greater offensive attack, unfortunately, that opens you up a little bit back on the defensive side. It's kind of a make-or-break moment.
Bit of a disagreement in possession there, but the Monarchs have it now. This is Marshall Hewitt being hounded by Annalise Huber. Now Allie Carter sends it wide left. But the Monarchs will turn it back over. This is Ella Thomas now. Nice through ball by Macy Rackham. Is going to find McKenna Winterton, trying to build up some speed, going towards the goal. Cuts to the middle and whiffs on it. Good opportunity by McKenna, but it looks like she just ran out of gas after she made a couple of really nice moves through the Monarch defenders.
Well, and if you looked close, Quinn, you could see at the last moment her eyes looked up. It appeared that she wanted to pass it into the center and then decided better of it, but that moment of indecision took a wonderful opportunity and allowed it to pass on by.
It seemed like a pretty good challenge as well by Carolina Simpkins to take away any angle that McKenna might have had. As another battle for possession, and the referee's going to rule it in favor of Claire Stevens of the Knights. That one bounces off another Monarch defender.
And now at under 3 minutes, if these Monarchs are going to make that change that you were mentioning, it needs to happen now.
McKenna Winterton's going to head that one. Macy Rackham looking for Mabel Harris, who wanted the lead. But Methodist intercepts. Now look out, Acevedo on the left side looking for Yaneli Sanchez. They're going to try and go to her in the late going to tie it up for them. Just under 2.5 minutes remaining. Methodist unbeaten streak in conference play. More than 2 years it's been since their last defeat.
Yes, and that last clearance there looking like perhaps the Knights are shifting to a bit of a run-out-the-clock style of play. call from the ref here.
Not too much contact in the middle there, but let's see what they ruled. I think it's going to go in favor of Southern Virginia, as you see Tessa Miller on the near side, Mabel Harris on the far side, moving a little further towards the Monarch goal. But we can see, Nick, the Knights playing a little bit safe on that free kick, not trying to crowd the box too much, making sure they have plenty of defenders behind them to defend any Monarch attack, because you know they have lots of speed on the front line.
Yes, as we've mentioned many a time, that number 16, Yanelli, has tremendous speed for the Monarchs, and the Knights are definitely aware of that and not wanting that to hurt them in this final minute of play.
After the penalty called against the Knights, a free kick now for Methodist. They got under a minute remaining of play. They're going to start an attack now. It's Marshall Hewitt, able to get around a couple of Knight defenders, but a good boot by Ella Thomas to clear it. And that's going to bounce towards the box. A really calm play by Claire Stevens. Still up for grabs, and now Annalise Huber comes out within a nice clear. Domenico's going to clear that, let that one go out of bounds, and now a throw-in. She doesn't have too many teammates in the vicinity. Tessa Miller's going to go after it. Now Macy Rackham with it. Knights back on the attack. She's got Tessa Miller on the near side. She's going to lose it, though, and looks like Tessa Miller might have been offsides, but they say play on. Just 10 seconds remaining. Looks like Macy Rackham's going to drown out the rest of the clock. And that's going to do it for this one. The Knights are going to defeat the Methodist University Monarchs in the first game of USA South play this season, 1-0, off of a goal from McKenna Winterton way back in the first half. And just like that, the unbeaten streak in conference play is over for Methodist. Also, the defending USA South champs that Southern Virginia has already beaten to start conference play this year.
Yes, this is a good moment for the Knights. They have lost the previous 3 matches against Methodist here. And, oh, it feels good for them to get a victory here, especially considering their tough streak over the last couple of games, taking a few losses.
So Katrina Gardner also able to pitch a 2-save shutout for the Knights, but really stingy defense by Southern Virginia. Only allowed a very small amount of grade A chances for Methodist. And looking forward for Southern Virginia, their next matchup will be against Salem College here at Knight Stadium next Wednesday at 7 p.m. So tune in for that one on Knights Broadcasting. And we thank you for joining us this afternoon. Again, a Knights 1-0 victory against the defending USA South champion, Methodist Monarchs. Thank you, and hope you have a pleasant evening.